I kind of have the best job today.
Earlier this week, 4 days of complex testimony and intense cross-examinations. Brian Sims, who is actually the first openly gay state legislator in Pennsylvania, tweeting out he is outraged.
Get a good shot of this because I want the people at home to see how good I am at making these potato donuts.
So what you want to do is find a tab that says COVID dashboard. You might have to do a little searching to find it. I found it here under the Parents tab. Police are searching for suspects after a shooting outside the Washington Nationals baseball stadium. It forced officials to stop last night's game. While no one inside was hurt, 3 people outside were shot and wounded. For example, we've got Dauphin County selected over here. If we scroll down, we can see there are 4 options for licensed recovery homes. Message in a bottle. My producers are making me embarrass myself here tonight.
I do want to point out the crane on top of the railroad tracks here. That crane has been pulling these train cars up from the brush. Now it is cold. It is windy, but so far no precipitation. Things are looking good. I'm going to step out of the way and show you 83 here behind me.
Iran and 6 global leaders are set to restart talks tomorrow to discuss the possibility of Iran re-entering the 2015 nuclear deal. Rudolph, take us away. Santa, you better come on and hop in. For CBS 21, I'm Megan Magensky. Hey Jasmine, there were a lot of tears today as these people that have made this block their home were forced to evacuate. You can see how close we are to the county court building. Documents from the district attorney state that the people living on this block were harassing jurors and employees.
My family don't even know I'm living on the streets, so I'm ashamed to tell them.
An emotional day for the people experiencing homelessness staying around the Market Square Presbyterian Church.
Freaking out, like they expect us to like drop everything, like we had a place to go to, like off the top of our heads.
Around 2 o'clock Thursday afternoon, Regina Harris was handed this document saying she had 3 hours to gather her belongings and get out.
Crazy, unbelievable, shocking.
These are folks who have not had advantages in life and are trying to make their way. Some of them have jobs.
Thomas Sweet is a pastor at Market Square.
There's really not very many places for them to go.
We reached out to the DA's office. According to court documents, quote, the individuals have harassed people on the street and presented a public nuisance, unquote. Some of the examples listed: spitting on employees at the county buildings, defecating on the street, bathing in public, and illegal drug use.
It's not pretty. Homelessness isn't pretty.
Isha Mobley with Christian Churches United sprang into action.
All the hotels that we deal with, it's about 7 or 8 of them, are all full for the weekend.
Mobley tracked down a van and offered to drop these people off wherever they could go.
The dispersing people is not the right solution to the problem. You're just moving people around, and to me that's a subhuman treatment.
Regina maintains a stunning positivity through it all. The man she was staying with says he has enough money for a hotel tonight.
But I tell my kids, no matter what life throws at you, keep rolling with the punches.
Now I want you to take a look across the street with me here. A luxury apartment building is being put in over here. Now Pastor Sweet says this is one of Harrisburg's problems. There's been a big focus on these upscale apartment buildings and not affordable housing. He also says with the eviction moratorium during the pandemic, people weren't moving out of rooms like they normally would. Now, if you or someone you know is experiencing homelessness and needs access to resources, 211 is a 24/7 hotline that can put you in touch with shelter, food, and other social service programs.
Addiction's not going away.
This room, once a meeting place for residents to connect and learn, now here for those just stopping by.
The housing piece is going.
Steve Barnt, executive director of JFT Recovery Services in Lemoyne, is not making the changes needed to get licensed by the state, saying it's too tedious and costly.
I couldn't really put the time into that. I miss it. We're a nonprofit, so we claw, we scratch, we do.
In ending the recovery housing program and choosing to remain unlicensed, JFT is losing all state and federal funding.
I'm waiting to see the dust settle when it's done, but in conversations that I had, roughly I'm feeling maybe we're going to lose a third of the houses that were here prior to the licensing.
Here's a map from the Department of Drug and Alcohol Programs, or DDAP. When you click on a county over here, you can see the licensed recovery house options that you have in the county that you live. So for example, we've got Dauphin County selected over here. If we scroll down, we can see there are 1, 2, 3, 4 options for licensed recovery homes, 2 for men, 2 for women. Cumberland County, we can see there's 1 example, but when you start to click around, especially in the more rural counties, Perry County, Juniata, Huntington County, there are no options for licensed recovery homes.
73% of the counties didn't have a licensed house.
Fred Way is the executive director of the PA Alliance of Recovery Residences, or PAR. Before DDAP was tasked with regulating houses with the passage of Act 59 in 2017, PAR had a system of certifying recovery houses.
My goal has always been to make sure that the recovery residences are operating with standards. That's not going to change.
Way says ultimately, DDAP's licensing regulations are hurting the good houses.
Will you ever get rid of the bad houses even with this licensure? No. Okay, they're still going to operate.
Why did the state have to step in and regulate these houses?
It sort of came to a head in Philadelphia. These recovery houses were basically recruiting people from other countries, from other states. When they arrived with, only the clothing on their back and very little cash in their pocket, they were introduced to these very dilapidated houses.
Secretary of DDAP Jennifer Smith says she knows the regulations cause some challenges, and the department is offering some grant funding opportunities and flexibility to those wanting to be licensed.
I absolutely think that there will be a revisiting of the regulations.
BART plans to search for private funding sources to keep the center going, offering peer support recovery by certified recovery specialists, warm handoffs from hospitals after someone overdoses, and he's even planning a program to help those in recovery from both an eating disorder and addiction, as the two often go hand in hand.
We got to be realistic. Treatment goes so far. The person leaves treatment, treatment doesn't follow.
Bart and Way both share the same top concern. Where will these people live after they leave treatment?
There's people that just don't have a safe place to go, or they can't go back to where they were.
Am I calling that house and say, do you have a license or do you have a bed?
You can see these housing corridors at JFT here behind me. Now, Bart does have plans to put these to good use. He plans to house struggling veterans here, another one of his many passions. In Lemoyne, Megan Magensky, CBS 21 News. So this building was built around the time of the Civil War. It was a single-family home. The Jewish Community Center bought it and turned it into a men's club. They put this pool in. Now tell me this doesn't look like the scene of a horror movie.
There is definitely stuff in the building. One time I was here, probably about 4 o'clock in the morning. I was the only one in the building, and there's a bell in the kitchen. Well, the bell rang.
There is this phenomenon that we can't explain it.
When things go bump in the night, who can you call?
And we usually take EMF detectors and milligauss meters, and we check the area for high EMF spikes.
John Curley is the founder of the Harrisburg Area Paranormal Society.
First started out just to kind of debunk paranormal stuff, but then once we started doing it, you realize it's not a whole lot of stuff to debunk. There's real phenomena.
John and his team investigate free of charge. This is the kind of stuff they find. Listen close. In this next one, you can hear someone or something whistle back at them. At HMAC, several employees say they've had inexplicable encounters.
I've seen things like peripheral vision, like flashes and movement and stuff like that, especially down on stage on her in the basement where the pool is.
If there's anybody here that wants to communicate with us, can you do something, make a noise?
John passed out his gear, and Kevin led us to the places where he's experienced the most paranormal activity.
You just want to ask if anything's here.
Then we played the waiting game.
Can you knock on something back here? Let us know you're here.
We just want to understand more about you and why you're here.
If you don't like us and you want us to leave, just say get out and we'll leave.
We spent about an hour searching the building for spirits, which is much less than John typically spends.
That's downstairs.
We didn't hear anything to stop us in our tracks. John says he doesn't deny HMAC is haunted, and the employees who've experienced it are sure.
I haven't noticed anything like malicious or anything like that. It's just weird, creepy.
In Harrisburg, Megan Magensky, CBS 21 News.